Bro, from a 10-minute video you talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum in 8 minutes of it, and the video is called Cardano price prediction. Better edit your videos properly than to clickbait. You know what, I think this guy is actually right, so welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. But today I don't want to talk about the Discord or anything else. In this video we will only talk about Cardano because obviously we do not need to know what's happening in the bigger picture, because it does not matter. At the end of the day, it's only Cardano that matters, and Bitcoin does not matter, Ethereum does not matter, the S&P does not matter. So let's just see what Cardano is doing, and I hope you are happy, because right now Cardano is not doing anything, meaning that we have nothing to say, but there is still some stuff. For example, as you can see right here, we were in an uptrend. We had 2 touch points on the trend line, then we fell below it, and then when we fell below it, we tried getting back above it, and then we got rejected. And right now what we need to do is go up again. Obviously we need to get back above the trend line and then above the 200-day moving average, which is currently at 73.2 cents or something, and then above the bull market support band. Keep in mind we still have a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup on the chart. It has not been invalidated. To invalidate it, we would have to break below this low right here, which is at about 58 cents. Now, like I said, it could still happen. I would say why, but I'm not allowed to talk about Ethereum or Bitcoin, so we're just gonna have to focus on Cardano. You could say that the low is already in, and maybe we are not getting a double bottom, because this at the end of the day is an ABC structure. However, I did warn you a couple of months ago, I think, that this could turn into a much bigger ABC, and it could look something like this. So basically A, B, and then C, and we go to the 0.786 support level instead. The 0.786 support level, it's gonna be pretty deep if we do go to that level. I don't think that's gonna happen, but if we do somehow test it, then we could even drop to like 38.6 cents before we do anything else. Now keep in mind, to invalidate the whole 1-2 setup here, we still have to break below this level right here, which is at 27.7 cents. So even if Cardano somehow drops to like 38 cents, it's still going to be fine as long as we stay above the level right here that is at about 27.7 cents. So that's it about the 4 hour. Right now what we need to do is wait for another cross on the bull market support band, and this could take another couple of weeks. Now I would talk about something else like Bitcoin or Ethereum, because what Bitcoin is doing is very, very important. But yeah, I mean, Cardano needs to get back inside this triangle, and maybe we could finally get back above the $1 level. And also keep in mind, if we do get back above the $1 level, there's going to be a lot of resistance here at the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high. We got rejected here about 5 times, I believe. So this was the first time, the second time, the third time, and here the 4th time. And right now what we need to do is get back above it. And by the way, if we actually get to it again, that will complete the 5th wave of this 1, 2, 3, 4 setup, meaning that after we complete the 5th wave, we will still need an ABC down. So there is gonna be another rejection here, I think, and I'm expecting it to happen. And I think we could actually be above the all-time highs of the previous cycle by the end of May. I would say why again, but I'm not allowed to talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, because this comment right here, I mean, it literally says, hey, you clickbait because you only talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this is a Cardano price prediction. So yeah, let's give you another Cardano price prediction. And well, I added something to the daily chart right here. As you can see, this thing says 160 days. Now what the hell is this? Well, if you look at what happened in the previous cycle when we were in the exact same structure, this 1-2-1-2 setup is the same as this 1-2-1-2 setup. As you can see here, it took about 160 days to break above the trend line after testing it in the first wave. And if we do the exact same thing right now, we could be above the trend line right here in about May of 2025, and actually the 10th of May of 2025, meaning that if we actually get to like $1.70 by May, it could be very, very bullish, because we could then see some kind of bigger move like we had here, for example. I know people are bearish on Cardano right now, but you have to keep in mind people were also bearish back in the previous cycle when it was down here at like 8 cents and even like 1 cent right here, actually 3 cents. Keep in mind, I mean, from this all-time high right here to these lows right here, Cardano was down like 90-something%, I believe. Let's actually check this out. Yeah, 97%. So of course, everybody thought that it was a dead coin just because it was down like 99%. And of course, I mean, when we were down here, you could have said that this is a dead coin and it would have made sense because a coin does not usually go down 99%. However, this cycle is a bit different because from the all-time highs to the bear market lows, we did not go down 99%. We actually went down about, let's see, about 90% this time. And I know it sounds like a lot, but trust me, it's not really a lot when you consider the fact that some altcoins never recover after the bear market, and maybe ADA is not even going to survive the next bear market. I don't know. I mean, in order for ADA to actually survive the next bear market, it's gonna have to get to the previous all-time highs at least, or new all-time highs, because if it doesn't, it's not gonna be the best thing in the world, because we could always get new lows, maybe even like 13 cents. It all depends on what does. I'm not able to, mention this because this is only a Cardano video, but I mean, yeah, Cardano is still looking good. Like I said, it's in the exact same structure that it was in the previous cycle, so we are still waiting for a breakout of the trend line, and once that breakout starts, that will be the trigger for the altcoin season. Of course, I'm not going to talk about the altcoins because, I mean, this is only a Cardano video. So once something like this happens, and once we get above the trend line and then above the 0.618 resistance level of the previous cycle, like we did over here, then it's gonna be very, very fast, and people are going to miss this move. Obviously, I mean, this move, for example, started at like 20 cents and it finished right here at like $2.49. And from this low right here, from the January of 2021 low to this high right here, I mean, this was May, so this whole move took like 4 months, and during that time, Cardano went up quite a lot, as you can imagine, from 20 cents for like $2.50. So many people actually bought right here and not down here. And right now in this cycle, I think the exact same thing will happen when Cardano finally breaks above the trend line right here, and when it finally breaks above like $1.70 or even like $2, I think people are going to start buying because they're going to start believing in it again. And when they do buy it, they're going to expect it to get like $50, just because at that time the YouTubers will most likely start clickbaiting again, and they will talk about Cardano hitting like $50 by the end of the cycle, even though it would make 0 cents for that to happen. And please be careful. So if you bought down here, for example, taking some profits at like $2, maybe $3 is not gonna be the worst thing in the world, because I mean, if you are already up like almost 10x, I mean, some profits cannot hurt you, in my opinion. At least take the money back that you invested in back here. Now, not many people bought down here. Some people actually bought during this move right here. So please do not be any of these people, and please consider buying altcoins when they are at all-time lows or actually bear market lows, rather than trying to time the market and buy them when they are going up, because I mean, you could make some money that way. Obviously, the people who bought up here, let's say they bought at like $1.30, right now they are down quite a lot. However, in the long term, I think it's gonna be fine, but you have to know that the people who bought at like $1.30 are not gonna hold the altcoin if it drops to like 50 cents, because they will think that it will drop even more, and maybe it will, but then again, maybe it's not gonna drop anymore. Maybe we'll just go sideways, and then we break above the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high, and then when the altcoin season starts, I would talk about the this right here, but I am not allowed to. So Cardano is still in a good, situation right now. Obviously, from the 4-year cycle point of view, Cardano is a bit behind. I mean, exactly 4 years ago, I mean, right now I think it's April, so 4 years ago it was at about $1.60, but you have to keep in mind, during this time, Cardano went up on its own, so please do not forget that, and please remember that we are still doing fine, and we are still waiting to test the trend line right here. I think the trend line will be tested at some point. We just have to wait a bit longer. Now I'm going to talk about the weekly chart as well, because I think the weekly chart is also pretty important. As you can see on the RSI, we got rejected by the moving average right here, and to get bullish, we kind of have to break back above it, because that's what we did right here. To start this whole crazy move to the upside, we had to get back above the moving average of the weekly RSI. So we are definitely going to need to do that extremely soon. How soon? I don't know. I mean, we are still waiting for a cross on the bull market support band, like I said, and in order to get a faster cross on the bull market support band, if Cardano does something like this, the cross cross could literally happen in the next week or so, because I mean that's what happened in the previous cycle when we were at the exact same time, well actually at the exact same point of the structure. Here we actually had a pump above the bull market support band. This was a very unexpected pump, and as you can see, like 1 week later we had a cross, even though before this pump right here we were, you know, very far away from actually getting any type of cross. So yeah, getting a pump right now would definitely help. And like I said, the Cardano chart is still looking good on the weekly, but we have to get back above the moving average. Now going to the monthly chart is also pretty important, and something important happened here, well actually very important. We reacted to the moving average on the monthly chart and we closed above it, exactly like we did right here in the previous cycle. And I mean right now we are waiting for this move right here, and I think it's gonna happen very soon. It all depends on what these things do right here, and I think we are just waiting for something to happen. Keep in mind, I mean, even this move right here to the downside, this took like 3 months, and right now we're at the beginning of the 5th month. So I mean, these things are normal for Cardano, and I mean we still have a 1-2 setup on the chart, and the 3rd wave is still in progress. We have the first 1-2 setup of the 3rd wave. The minimum target for that is at $2.98. That's the 200% extension, which is the green thing on the chart of the 1-2 setup here. And I mean, of course, the 3rd wave could go way higher than that. It could even get to the 1.618 trend-based Fibonacci extension. Well, not the trend-based Fibonacci extension, the Fibonacci extension of the previous all-time high, and that's at $5.30. Is that going to happen? I don't know, but that's where the 3rd wave went to in the previous cycle before getting rejected in a 4th wave move down and then hitting a 5th wave at the end of the year. So I think Cardano will still hit all-time highs in this cycle. I think people are just overly bearish for no reason. I mean, it's still the exact same structure and we're still waiting for a breakout. Of course, if we do break below support, then I'm going to start turning bearish, but we have never broken below support in this cycle, so I don't really understand why people are confused or angry or, you know, bearish on Cardano, because there's nothing to be bearish about, at least not now. So we're just waiting for something to happen in the market, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.